Hello, Mathers. Today we're doing a thing called foiling. Foiling is an acronym where the F stands for we want to multiply the first items. So if I multiply this and this, these are the firsts. 3x is first in its group, 5x is first in its group. If we multiply these, we get 15x squared. You might remember multiplying, we added the powers. So invisibly these have ones, and 1 is why I made that a 2. The O stands for the outsides. On the outsides of this problem are the 3x and the 6. I would multiply those two. 3 times 6 is 18, but there's nothing to change the x. The I stands for the insides. At the inside of this problem, we have the 4 and the 5x. 4 times 5 is a 20x. And then the L stands for the lasts. The 4 is last, the 6 is last. So if I multiply those, that will be a 24. Everything in this problem was positive, so everything down here I put a plus. The only way I can make this a little bit better is that these two items are like terms. They have the same variables, and we've done those other days. So 15x squared is a keeper. The plus 24 is a keeper. But these two, I want to add those coefficients together to get a 38x, and then we're good. They're all the same. The only difference in any of these is I sometimes sprinkle in a little bit of negative action. For this problem, we'll multiply the firsts. 7 times 8 is 56. When I multiply a couple x's, that'll be x squared. When I go to do these, now I need to look at the sign because I sprinkled some negatives in there. So a negative times a positive is a negative. 9 times 7 is 63, and that has an x. For the insides, negative times positive is a negative. 8 times 8 is 64, and that has an x. And then at the ends, negative times negative is positive. 8 times 9 is 72. There's always going to be these two in the middle that can go together. So my best answer here would be 56x squared still, minus 127x. A negative adding a negative makes a negative, and we add those together to get 127. Plus the 72 is still there. One more, same thing. So again, start with the firsts. 2 times 4 is 8. Since they both have x's, I'll go x squared. On the outside, positive 5, positive 2 makes positive 10x. On the inside, negative times positive would be a negative. 3 times 4 is 12 with an x, because that had an x. And then negative 3 times positive 5 is negative 15. When I go to put these together, I'm looking to add these numbers. Negative 12 adding positive 10 should get negative 2. Because when we add a negative to a positive, it depends on the bigger one, and we subtract those. So there's an 8x squared, just copying it, minus a 2x, minus a 15. There's a couple problems that are the tiniest bit different because I threw in a power. So here we were dealing with invisible ones. If I made this be, I don't know, like 7s. 7 and 7 would have made this 14. And then instead of plain old x's, these would have had the 7s. And when we put it together, it would have a 7. We don't change those powers when we're adding them together. We only change the powers when we multiply them, make them add. So if I wanted to make this be a 10 and this be a 10, this would be a 20, but these would just have 10s. The answer would have a 20, but that would be a 10. There's a couple of those, but not a lot of those. You're working on a sheet that's titled Foiling. Email me if you have any questions.